So those things are possible in the in this kind of system. So today we also saw, the CPU scheduling and that kind of things. How different algorithms or different logics are used for the scheduling. It can be an FCFS, a first come first serve, or the shortest path first. You can also predict kind of things and so on and so forth. So now coming to process synchronization. So we have already seen processes, what are the different states of a process, what are the types of processes, and so on and so forth. So this kind of thing is there, and how do you have a synchronization of processes? Now in this session today and tomorrow, I am not going to be covering everything, because a lot of these material in this slide, I am planning to use it primarily for the end semester exam. So a lot of some sort of programming assignment or programming exercise is what I am planning, so as to speak. So I will just give a basic overview of what it is, and then we'll move forward. So in terms of process synchronization, we have already seen processes that we can have processes divided into threads. They can go parallelly, they can go concurrently. We have seen all these things. We also saw, I did tell you in between about the producer consumer problem. I told you a simple example of that producer consumer problem would be as follows, where you are I told you your mom is making hot piping pancakes or dosas, and you are eating them very hot, and so you are having a buffer, in the sense that you can only have this many dosas, and if there are more than one person sitting in the dining table, each one of us them have a capacity, and the dosas are hot piping dosas are coming one by one. And how do you kind of give it across? How do you each consume it? And so that is this producer consumer problem. The producer will go on producing, but the consumer should be in a position to accept it. That is what is known as a buffer. So the buffer is full means it cannot accept. Your stomach is full, you cannot take any more dosas, even though they are so delicious, made with mother's love and stuff. So this is the issue of the producer consumer problem. And a race condition is when there is a deadlock. You are not able to do anything. The producer is producing, but the consumer cannot take. The ulta is also possible, right? The consumer is ready, but the producer has got many requests from many places, and there are 3 or 4 consumers, and one consumer is ready to have a dosa, but the others are going on asking the producer, and it's not possible for them to do anything. So that kind of issue is also there. Race condition is also possible. And how do you solve this race condition? The race condition, there are ways to solve this condition. One way is you can have what is known as a critical section. A critical section means every process will have what is known as a critical section. When the process enters the critical section, it can execute, it can produce, or it can do its job. So if it doesn't enter the critical section, it cannot do it. That is the idea. So a critical section will have an entry, exit, and a remainder section. When it enters, the process enters the critical section, the execution of the process actually happens. This is what a critical section is about. Now, there are different ways to implement this critical section. So I told you, producer is producing, consumer is consuming. There are many consumers. That there has to be some sequence, some logic in it. So one way is this critical section, that when one process is in the critical section, only then it can do. So then it can go in a round robin fashion. If I am in the critical section P1, P2 will not be able to do anything. When P3 also will not be able to do. So only when a process enters the critical section, it can execute. And at any point of time, we can have different algorithms. Like mutual exclusion means, if one process is in the critical section, no other process will be allowed to enter the critical section. Now, there are other logic also. If no process is executing in the critical section and there exists some process who want to enter the critical section, then we can have some priority. We can have some sort of logic that, you know, we can select the ones that are going to the critical section. And we can also have a bound, the sense that there is a it shouldn't happen that some high value processes will go on entering the critical section and the low value process will never enter the critical section. So how do you do this? You make such that everybody gets some chance. There is a bound. You can't wait beyond this time. So if some processes are always entering, after some time they will not be able to enter. That wait period is of the other person is whose waiting will be higher, and they get into the critical section. And this is a way that, you know, we can do a synchronization of synchronization in terms of the processes. So many processes want to execute, and for executing it should enter a critical section. And we can decide how this critical section, the ideal is, okay, one person goes to critical section, the other person does not go. Another option is you can give a priority. Okay, this has a high value process, so you give this person more priority, this process more priority. But then the high value processes will always execute, the low value will never execute. That again is a problem. So you need to have some other logic where you give them a waiting time. Beyond this wait, they will not wait beyond a specific time. If they wait for this much time, you give them a priority for the waiting period. And we have synchronization hardware for executing this. One simple way of executing is by giving a lock. You are giving a lock. So when the lock is on, the solution to critical section problem through. So when somebody is using the critical section, there is a lock. Nobody else can enter into the critical section. And there are some directives, there are some commands, or rather, what do you call that? System calls that we can use so as to be able to manage this. So this is what you are going to be writing in the exam. I want you to do some programming where you try to implement critical sections, locks. There is something called a mutex lock or a lock. You can use different directives or primitives or system calls, like, you know, for doing this. Like, you know, there are commands like test and set for implementation or execution of the code for the critical section. There is a compare and a swap, where you compare values and swap if required. You have a mutex lock. You have a way to acquire a lock and release a lock. So these are different primitives that we can use, comparing two different processes, swapping processes, testing and setting, test whether it is right or wrong, whether it is in the critical section or not. If it is not, set it to the critical section. This kind of commands are there. There is also what is known as a shared variable, which is like a flag. You know what a flag is? A flag is something that will tell you whether you are right or wrong. And this semaphore is a synchronization tool which is slightly better than a lock. Lock means you are locking, you can't get inside. But a semaphore is a little different. Here you are able to at least predict in that way. You're having a kind of a shared variable, or a kind of a, what do you call, a flag between two processes. So based on what the flag says, you can take a decision. And see, it is something like you and me are talking to each other. We both share a common token, and based on that token we know. So if the token is yes, that means you are using. If the token is no, that means you are not using. So we both know what is happening. It is like having a shared space or a shared variable or a flag. I think in programming it is better to call it a flag. It's a flag. So you know, okay, when you see the flag or the token, okay, that guy is using it, that guy is not using it, I am not using it, that kind of things. And again, this flag also, or the semaphore variable, also has various primitives or process or system calls like wait and signal. and so on. A semaphore can also be numbering. You can have a number value also, an integer value, different types are there. But generally speaking, this semaphore is basically a flag or a shared variable, so as to speak. So you can use primitives like signal and wait to use this to signal and wait. Wait is waiting, signal is asking it to what should I say? It's like initializing or instantiating the semaphore. Signal is instantiating the semaphore, and wait is asking it to suspend or stop the process. So the semaphore is a shared variable which we can use for synchronization of process. It is a common shared variable between two processes. Each of them know what the situation is, and you have primitives like signal and wait. Now, in the next class, I will simply give you I'll explain. I already told you bounded buffer problem, the DOSA thing, producer consumer problem. I'll slightly touch upon the readers writers problem and the dining philosophers problem. I will only explain this from a philosophical point of view. As I mentioned, you will need to write code in the end semester exam on this. I'm already telling you the questions for the end semester exam, at least one question. So you should be able to do that programming in the end semester exam. So I'll tell you the logic. What is this dining philosopher problem? What is this reader's writing? It's from a very philosophical point of view. I will not go into the detail. You will have to sit and figure out how to do. It's like a take-home exam, something like that. So one question in the end semester, you are able to execute the two of them. That is the reader-writer problem and the dining philosopher. You are home. Maybe I may ask both of them for the exam, right? So you know what the exam question paper is, at least partly. So, but you have to start working on it now. You don't wait for the last day. On that day morning, you will not be able to figure out what that is. You have to start doing it. It's like a homework, and the homework will come in the end semester exam, something like that. So the idea is you utilize your programming knowledge. You can use any code. You can use Python. You can use C, C++. Up to you. It doesn't matter. And execute this readers writers problem and this dining philosopher problem. Tomorrow I will tell you what this reader writer problem is, what this dining philosopher problem is. So that's all from my side. Actually, I had planned a seminar for you, but then the seminar organizers told that it is a little premature for you people. You have 2 more years to graduation, so it will not be fair, working out for you. And so in the last moment, I had to drop out because they felt that their content will not match with you and it could confuse you. But your seniors had a very good feedback. I thought both my classes I could do, but maybe next year I'll plan it for you folks. You can answer your attendance. Just hold on. What is this? Where is the AUMS thing called? Yeah, answer your attendance. Ardra, Aaron, Ashika. Okay. Abhay, Aishwarya, Akash. Abhay, Aishwarya, Akash. Aishwarya, Akash. Okay. Anjali, Ankita, and Maria. Anjali, Ankita. Arundhati, Ashwin Anand. Arundhati. Okay. Bhavana, Dhanushri, Dhruva. Okay. Dinesh, Kirtana, Priya, Krishnendu. Kritika, Lakshmi, Malavika. Lakshmi. Others, please unraise. Krishnendu, Anjali, please unraise. Okay. Stop. Niveda, Pranav, Prashant. Niveda, Prashant, Pranav, Niveda, Prashant. Okay. Shri Bala, Satyan, Shivada. Okay. Smriti, Sridhar, Amrit, Subodh. Subodh. Okay. Varun Kumar, Chinmaya, Pavan. Nayana, Dhanushka, Sri Lakshmi. Nayana. Nayana, Dhanushka, Sri Lakshmi. Nayana, Dhanushka, Sri Lakshmi. Not there. So we'll meet tomorrow, where I'll just give you a basic idea about these two algorithms, including this issues. Okay, so we'll see tomorrow. Stay safe. The Viva we will probably have to postpone a bit. I'm traveling from day after tomorrow, so I'm not sure I may be able to do it now. Let me just see if I can squeeze in some time in between, and I'll inform you. Unfortunately, tomorrow and today and all, I'm very busy. Before leaving, I have a lot of work to do. So 2 weeks I'm not here. So we'll anyway plan it later. But as such, your next week we will have classes. But the week after that, I will leave you fully free, so that you can study for the midterm Viva also. Next week we will have some classes, and a lab also. I'll be giving you a video on shell scripting. Then we will have some a lab assignment or an exam on shell scripting, and another one on processes. So so basically you have 2 more lab evaluations. That's the only, and the midterm Viva. Otherwise there is all the internal assessment, everything is over. Okay, see you tomorrow. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.